All right, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. It seems like it's been a while. I haven't done a live stream or a good video in probably about a week or so. Just because I was last week we did the 343 bike ride, or rather, I was support and followed behind guys who did the 343-mile bike ride. It was pretty impressive to watch. So with that, this is why I'm now doing, back to the live streams, getting back to it, and doing the same old shit. So, anyway, guys, let's start with the basics. How do I look? How do I sound? What's going on, everyone? Again, thank you for joining me tonight. Be charming. Good evening. Hello, hello. What's going on? All right, guys. Let's start out with the smashing of the like button or the dislike button, whatever floats your boat, whatever excites you, get your dick hard, your nipples hard, whatever it is, guys. Just hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. It helps out with the algorithm, and it also it doesn't make me feel good, but whatever. Other than that, guys, let's jump to it now. Tonight on the Angry Truth channel, we're going to talk about this Gabby. How do you pronounce her last name? Patillo, right? I hope I'm saying it right. We're going to discuss that because I have not so much ideas about it, but just, I don't know. I find the situation a little weird the way we are focusing the attention on this. Let me turn the slow-mo on and see how it works. I thought I put the slow-mo on earlier, Northern Girl, but let me give it another shot, see what happens. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds to square this away. I tell you, with YouTube now, anytime you log in, you got to go through your phone or your email and put these codes in, and I'm like, damn it, man. Like, I was just on here 5 minutes ago, and I came off of it. All right. And to boot, this takes forever to boot up. So whatever. Yeah, the slow mode is on, but I'm gonna see if I can make it slower. Let's see. I mean, if I make it any slower, people will be waiting 10 minutes to type some shit in. But let's see what I. Yeah, the slow mode is on. So what happens is, I'm going to try 25 seconds to see what happens. What happens is, guys, the more people that, yes, and it's a chatty group. So with so many people on, how the slow-mo works, guys, the slow-mo is very good when you have, when I first started this live streaming shit, and you guys are on with me, slow-mo worked. It was great. But once you start getting so many people on and so many people watching at the same time, it just starts flying by. So there's not much more I can do about it other than I'm giving everybody a 20 to 25 second break, if you will, in making a comment. But other than that, it doesn't really it doesn't help once you got over 1,000 people watching, or 500 people watching rather, sorry. So the topic today is the La Palma situation, right? That's the island in the Canary Islands that has a volcano that erupted 2-3 days ago, and it seems like a lot of people are nervous about this. Now, in my video earlier this morning that I released, I said that I've been watching this for a couple years, so this is nothing new. This is not not to be scared of. It's something to watch, but I wouldn't sit there and get super nervous about it. Eventually, guys, that shelf in the southwest corner of the island, eventually that's going to fall off. And when it falls off, it might create a tsunami. I say they're unsure, but they know, they know that it'll cause a tsunami. They're just not sure what the height is. The max height right now is 167 feet, right? But again, it could be 200 feet, or it could be 50 feet. It could be 20 feet. We don't know. But it's something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't start flipping out about it. I wouldn't start fucking, racing to the mountains just yet. You should definitely have your backup plan ready to rock and roll just in case this happens, right? So a lot of you guys that live inland, right? And when I mean inland, I'm talking about middle America. You don't have anything to worry about. The only thing you have to worry about is the influx of us, East Coast people, moving further inland. That's probably the only thing you have to worry about. For us East Coast people, we got a lot to worry about. We're worried about is this shit's gonna happen at night, during our night hours, right? If it happens during our night hours, their daytime, and it happens to fall off while we're sleeping, I mean, unless you have your phone alarm on for a notification of that magnitude, a lot of us are only gonna have a couple of hours to fucking bail out. So with that, guys, the Canary Islands, back to that, belongs to Spain, not Africa. For a long time, I thought it belonged to Africa because it sits right in front of it. It sits right down down the way from Africa, about 60 something miles off the coast of North Africa. That being said, that's why I always thought that. Spain, on the other hand, is 1,000 miles or so away from the Canary Islands, yet they own it. So you know how that goes. Now, this volcano erupted 50 years ago, or a little over 50 years ago was the last time this volcano erupted. And with that, it erupted 2 days ago, and now thousands of people are evacuating out of the lava flow, and it's destroying a lot of homes, thousands of homes now, right? Yesterday was hundreds, now it's thousands of homes are completely destroyed. Again, guys, the problem with this is that shelf that falls off into the water. If it slides off into the water all at once, it could be a problem. If it slides off a little bit at a time, we might not have a problem. Now, someone was just asking how far inland. According to the scientists, which I don't know, man, I just don't trust scientists, but sometimes you have to trust them. They said 12 miles in. I would give yourself a 8-mile buffer and make it an even 20 miles in, and then you'll be safe, or you should be safe. But you also have to be elevated at the same time. So depending on how many miles you're in and elevation, you'll be safe. Now, my plan is to hit 95 to Route 80, Interstate 80, and head west. I should, before I even get to Delaware, I should be well far enough from the tsunami. Plus, it's elevated over there anyway. So I would be probably 20, 30 miles in. And then if I make it to the campsite on top of one of those mountains, we should be fine. All right? So I'm not worried about it too much. Again, unless it happens during our night hours, then it complicates matters a little bit. But 8 hours is enough time to walk out if we get the notice. Now, if we get the notice early enough, guys, we're getting in our cars like gentlemen, and we're driving out of there. But if we get this notice during rush hour, well, then e-bikes and e-scooters are coming in handy, and we'll zip our way out of the city and get as far as we possibly can on those before we start walking. Now, on an e-bike or e-scooter, depending on which model we get, it's going to carry us a pretty long way. So again, we don't have much to worry about. We will use that one charge for each bike and scooter to get out of there. E-bikes and e-scooters and even motorcycles, they do open you up for a lot of bad shit should you leave during rush hour or panic hour, if you will, when everybody else is trying to get out of there. Right? So if everybody else is trying to get out of New York City at the same time you are, because of this tsunami, you're going to have one hell of a ride, if you will. Now, Mr. Truck Campbell, your ass ain't going anywhere if everyone else has the same idea. Mr. Truck Campbell, I am 1,000% sure I'm going to beat most of the people out, and even if everybody's on e-bike, scooter, or their feet, you're still going to get out in a good amount of time. Again, should you get noticed early enough. If you get noticed late enough, you're screwed. Now, there are other options. There are buildings in the city that we might be able to get to that are well above the height of the wave. If the wave is that high, hopefully it's not higher than that, and we get to the top of one of those buildings, we'll be fine. Again, if we get to one of those buildings. But to get to one of those buildings, we have to go in the direction where the tsunami's coming. So there's a lot of variables with this. That's the other thing too. There's too many variables with this. I'm trying to plan it out as best as I could. And I know the one option, the best option is leave. That is the better option, to get the hell out of Dodge. But unfortunately, it's not that easy. And even if we move inland, which we're talking about now, in case this thing doesn't break off anytime soon, we're definitely going to move inland, probably about, again, rough estimate 20 miles, depending on what we're looking at, depending on where we're looking to stay. But again, native out, escape from MLC, ASAP, native out. Yeah, listen, guys, it's not always as easy as it is. And the other thing is, you don't want to bail out if nothing happens. That's the other problem, right? And you think this thing's going to happen tomorrow and it doesn't, then you think it's going to happen next week and it doesn't. Then for all, Greg Thompson, do me a favor. If you have my number, give me a text and I'll give you a call after this. I am hearing mixed things also about this volcano activity. So again, I don't know where to go with this. This volcano, guys, I've been watching since 2012. Not volcano, sorry, island. We've been watching since 2012. And they've been worried about that shelf for decades. So in 2012, I remember a lot of people swore it was going to break off that year and fall into the ocean. I mean, with everything going the way it is, it can absolutely break off this year, tomorrow, you know. What is your number? Mary Houswell. You're going to have to email me at angryprepper@gmail.com for my number. I'm not going to give it out here. I'm brave about a lot of shit, but my number, I just don't want people annoying me with the bullshit. Yeah, Mike, we're going to get to the food shortage part in a little bit. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So, guys, again, getting out early. This is the bigger part of this whole tsunami, or anything for that matter. I mean, with the exception of earthquakes, you can't get out early. Unfortunately, you're going to get your ass handed to you during an earthquake. But with the tsunami, if you got the right warning systems on your phone now, and your phone lights up at night and gives you a heads up that, for example, there's a bigger eruption on La Palma, right? La Palma, sorry. If there's a big eruption, you get the heads up, and now you can get up, go to your computer, and see whether or not that shelf fell off into the ocean. You're going to get more than enough Twitter, notifications if that happens. And then you start moving, right? I can get out of my house within 10 minutes, probably less than that, in the car, and everybody goes, right? Again, guys, these are just backup plans. I mean, there's a million things that can go on, right? We can go out west, and Yellowstone can go, and then what, right? So, guys, it's just, there's too many variables that are going on. There are too many things going on right now. We have to tackle each thing accordingly. We can't sit there and pretend that there's a place in the United States that is protected from all of this. It's not. Unfortunately, no matter where we move, we're going to encounter some bullshit or some possible bullshit, right? So, yeah, if Yellowstone goes, guys, all bets are off. Nowhere safe, you know? 1-800-PISSED-OFF. I like that one. John Livingston. Right? So, guys, these are just ideas, especially for those of us that live in the city and are, not moving out anytime soon, or moving out soon, but still need a backup plan. Your backup plan would be a bicycle, an e-scooter, an e-bicycle, a motorcycle, which is even better, faster. If you do it during rush hour, you're going to get more movement out of the smaller vehicles, the e-bike, scooter, bicycles, even a push scooter, guys, and a motorcycle. You're going to get more movement out of that than a car, right? Obviously, I'm going to drive my car as far as I can, and then if I'm stuck in traffic, we whip out the bikes and the scooters and we go, right? The dog is going to have to be pulled in a wagon of some kind, and I'm still working on that, because that's another headache. The dog, again, it's why we're going to use the car and go as far as we possibly can. Bug out bags are ready to rock and roll. Again, just in case. I just got my car back today. It was in the shop for a day or two, right? And so all of this happened, and I was like, fuck, I hope I get my car back in time. Well, I got my car back in time. So it's fixed, it's ready to go. A truck, yes, Truck Campbell, yes, a dirt bike is even better. Unfortunately, I would be the only one that knows how to ride one. My son and my daughter don't know how to ride a dirt bike, and there's nowhere for us to keep 3 or 4 of them around should something happen. That's the only problem. Northern Girl, I have a giant-sized dog. Putting him in a baby Buren is not going to work. You know what? If I knock him out, it might work, and I strap him to my back, it'll probably work. Then somebody else will have to carry the bug-out bag, and we might have to sacrifice a bug-out bag just to take the dog. But again, these are all options that I'm entertaining. Hopefully, none of this shit happens within the next 6 months, because hopefully the next 6 months we're out of here. Now, here's the downside to the motorcycle, e-bikes, and scooter bullshit. I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. You are exposed on the bike and the e-scooters and the motorcycles. You're exposed. You're out in the open. So if you happen to do this during the time everybody else is escaping or trying to run, you might get pulled off of your bike. You might get pulled off your scooter or your motorcycle. And then what? You know? And so you're going to have some kind of weapon on you to lessen that from happening. A weapon doesn't absolve everything, guys, but it'll give you a fighting chance, right? So I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, you gotta, you always gotta carry, you gotta do your best. Yeah, you have to do your best. You have to plan the best you can. But with that, guys, there's always a downside to everything. Everything. There's nothing that's 100%, and there's a lot of people who seem to believe that, for example, their prepper plan is 100% guaranteed. Well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and this is going to happen and that. No. When you plan something out like this, you got to play chess with the entire fucking event, right? So I'm playing this out every angle I possibly can, right? I'm looking at it. If this happens during the night and I get the heads up, I get my family in the car in 10 minutes, we're gone, right? We head to the, mountain range where I go camping, and then we hang out there and see what happens, right? Then you have the curveball. If we get up and we have 2 hours left and we're hearing about this, well, then we will get on the e-bikes and scooter with 1 or 2 bug-out bags and go and strap the dog to my back, and we're out. But now we have to, what are we contending with? Well, we're contending with a lot of people who are also trying to leave at the same time. And if they are, again, guys, getting an e-bike or scooter around traffic is a lot easier than getting your car around. But still, how far can we get in 2 miles on an e-bike and scooter? We can get pretty fucking far, right? 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, we can get pretty far on one of those things. So, again, I have a lot of backup plans, and then the last backup plan that I don't want to entertain, but I had to, was heading to one of the tall buildings, which is called Millionaire Row, downtown, heading to one of those buildings and heading to the roof and then hanging out there. That is our better bet, right? And that's the last resort. And that last resort is if all the other options are closed off. If there's no other options available and we have to head to Millionaire Row, then we have to head to the roof and we have to wait it out and pray that the pressure of the tsunami doesn't collapse the building, right? So that's the other thing to contend with. There's a lot of things that I've thought about before this incident. So a lot of people are like, you're just now. No, I've been onto this shit for years, but now this is making me think of other options. Now, when I started looking into how to get out of the city if this should happen, there weren't any e-bikes and there weren't any e-scooters. There were none of this shit. Now that technology has gotten better, we have better options at our feet now. So we have more options. Before, the option was bugging out on feet and a car. That was it. Now we have the third option of the e-bikes and e-scooter, and the absolute last resort millionaire row and heading to the roof. Last resort, right? So as technology gets better, guys, more options are open to you, or available to you, rather. So, again, that's something I don't want to do. I don't want to entertain, but nonetheless, I'll have to entertain it if it comes down to it. Now, here are the bigger problems with the volcano going. Now, there was another volcano that just went off earlier today. Of course, people sent me emails about it. And yes, Etna, right? Etna, if I'm saying that right, that volcano went off earlier today. Guys, here's the deal. Whenever a volcano goes off, that's, pretty big, there's always another one or two that goes off around the same time. So this is not anything new. This is not anything to be super nervous of, because we've seen other volcanoes go somewhere else in the world. One volcano pops off and it's a big explosion. There's another one right behind it that's going to erupt. Doesn't always happen, but it happens more than not, right? So that I'm still not worried about it. I'm only worried about that shelf letting go. Even if the La Palma volcano erupts, the next one is bigger. Let's see what happens with the landmass. That's more important than the next eruption. But if a few more volcanoes go off at the same time, we could be dealing with a volcanic winter. Volcanic winter sucks ass, because that means this winter coming up will be super fucking cold. And I love the cold, but I know a lot of people that don't. But volcanic winter has the ash blocking out sun rays, which brings more cold weather in, less food production, guys, because less food will grow. Less grass will grow. Less plants for animals that eat those plants will grow, right? And less animals will grow because there's less food for them. So there will be an undoubtable food shortage if we get a volcanic winter. So forget about the shelf sliding off into the Atlantic Ocean and causing a giant tsunami. If enough volcanoes go off at the same time, a volcanic winter is something that we will absolutely have to entertain. And talk about preparing for that. That means, guys, if we get a couple more big volcano explosions going off, we are undoubtedly going to see a volcanic winter, which is going to mean less food next year, or later this year, rather. And we are going to have to be very, very... We're going to have to prep even harder if that happens. Now, I know a lot of us haven't stopped prepping. I know a lot of us are still getting, are still moving right along. So don't change anything. Don't get heavier. Don't fucking, don't go lighter. Don't be like, oh, I got enough. There's no such thing as enough. Keep prepping. Keep buying the food, because a food shortage, guys, is undoubtable. Now, we are seeing a food shortage now. But the food shortage that comes from a volcanic winter, that's bad. Full of hope. I'm not forgetting about the nuclear power plants, but yeah, those will go sideways as well. Again, tsunami, a lot of problems that come along with it, right? So thank you for bringing it up, Full of Hope. It's not just water rushing inland and killing millions of people or washing a lot of farmland away. It's also nuclear power plants as well. There's so many bad things that go down with a tsunami. It's not too many to name, but you guys can get the catastrophe that will happen once the water recedes. Once the water recedes, then the real problems start. All right. Now, for those of you that are unaware, that shelf that's going to slide off into the ocean, that the one they're worried about, it is the size of Manhattan, give or take. The wave that it'll cause will be anywhere up to 600 feet or 160 feet or higher, and the wave is said to have moved at 600 miles an hour. Now, the wave is going to move at 600 miles an hour until it starts to hit shallower depths. And when it hits shallower depths, the energy behind it is what starts to push that water in. Now, guys, it's not like the movies where that water comes into a wave and, people are like, oh my God, and it's not a curving wave water. It's water that builds up and it just starts to get higher, higher, and higher and floods through. The Day After Tomorrow did a good job on that. But if you guys want to see some tsunami footage, just type in the Japanese tsunami footage, and you'll see what a tsunami looks like. It's not a giant wave. It's just water. It looks like building up and coming in a lot higher, but it doesn't look like a curving wave, like a surfer wave, if that makes sense. So, a lot of things to contend with, guys. A lot of things to contend with. A Chuck Campbell, yes, absolutely. You're going to need the right filter, because breathing in ash into your lungs, especially if you have asthma or COPD or something like that, or even if you just have a healthy set of lungs, ash can fuck your lungs up. So you definitely need a correlating filter to that, to the ash. Now, a lot of people who deal with volcanic activity all the time, you always see them wearing a bandana around their face. That can suffice, but it's only going to last so long, especially a wet one, a wet bandana. If you rather go with a filter, a mask with proper filters on. And I don't know what the name of those filters are, so forgive me for that. But you're having a proper filter on it, even those are only going to last but so long, right? So you have to make your outing very fast, like in and out kind of thing. You can't be hanging outside with this mask and this filter on. Bob Man, yes, called a swell. Right, so the water coming in is called a swell. It's not a tsunami wave. It's not like the movies we see, right? A swell is... A P100 might get you by. With volcanic ash. Again, it also depends on how thick the ash is in the air. Again, a lot of variables. And N95 will help out some as well, guys. It's not ash, it's glass. Well, full of hope. It's ash with glass in it. Right? And what is it? Microscopic glass, if you will. But it's ash. You know, we're not going to split hairs now and be like, well, it's actually 3 parts glass and 1 part. We're not doing that. It's ash with some glass in it, guys. Yes. Thank you, Nicole. Right? We're not going to start sitting here and try to split hairs on what it is and what it isn't. It's bad for your lungs. How about that? Let's just blanket the whole thing. It is bad for your lungs. And thank you, Frank Bees. You're going to need eye protection also. So you're going to need a whole suit, pretty much. You're going to need a whole fucking face shield, guys, with proper filters, whether it's an N95, P100, or a mask with dust filters on it. You should be okay, but you can't hang out in the ash, right? So, transitioning over to the food shortage part. The food shortage, guys. I saw this. So we have spoken about this numerous times on this channel and other channels. We've spoken about food shortages. We have all known that this was going to happen. But, like I said before, in the cities are the last to see them. Just because I don't think the mayor or the president of the United States wants to see what a city looks like when the fucking shoe drops. Therefore, we get a lot of the food, and the smaller cities and towns see less food. Now, on the 343 ride is where I started noticing it. And I wrote off the first stop as, they just missed the delivery, or they had a rush or influx of people buying shit, and then that was it. We get to the next stop, and I see it again, and I'm like, all right, this is a problem. So I talked to one of the guys at the Walmart, and he's like, yeah, we're not getting in the usual stuff. He goes, I don't know why. That's all he said. It seemed like he didn't want to get into it, or he didn't want to talk to me, whatever it was. Miss Hazel says she works at Dollar General, and we have nothing. And that's the thing, guys. We're going to see less and less of it. Like I said, for a lot of America, this is the frog in the boiling pot syndrome, right? So the frog in a pot syndrome. It's where they start to get used to the situation around them, and they're being distracted with other shit. Now they're bringing in different distractions, and then they're not thinking about the food, and they're like, oh, well, the price is a little high because, and they make up whatever they make up in their mind. Meanwhile, they're not noticing that there's less shit on the shelves. Now, for every last one of you guys that are watching this today, you have already seen it. You've been noticing it for a little bit. You're noticing it even more this month or last month. You're seeing it. When I went out there, I identified it right away, but I didn't want to jump the gun and be the guy to be like, oh my God, look, there's nothing in the shelves. I just wrote it off as, maybe not. But when I went to the next location and saw less food, and went to the third location in Maryland and saw less food, I was like, there's a problem here. And now we are starting to see it. The city hasn't seen it yet. I'm pretty sure I can go to, not Food Bazaar, what's that called? Fairway. I can go to Fairway and there'll still be food on the shelves. But noticing that, guys, all that means is that we have to kick it into high gear. More canned goods, whatever you can get. Ma'am who works in Dollar General, get whatever you can get and store it away, right? If you're going to buy Spam, use Spam as your target practice. Don't eat that shit. And just keep prepping, guys. Keep doing what we're doing, because this is going to get a lot harder than not. I know a lot of us are going hunting this year, and there's probably going to be a lot of us going hunting this year as far as preppers go. And so I'm looking to actually do some hunting, kill some deers, and store that meat away. All right. Unfortunately, now I have to use space in my apartment to get a freezer, and one of those mini cold storage freezers, and start packing that with meat. I didn't want to do that because I didn't have the space, but now I have. I have to give up space to get one of these things. Like I said, hopefully we're out of here by the end of the year. It should be okay. Spam and eggs, yum. Mrs. Gray, Ice Age Farmer. I haven't seen a video from him in a while, but he is still on Telegram. So, or at least he's posting on Telegram, or one of his mods are posting on Telegram. But I've reached out to him a couple of times. I haven't heard anything back from him. So, Nate V. Yes, I know. I have to start canning. I know. I got to get around to it. I look at the box every day. I have a canner. I have a canner at home. I have the supplies. I stare at this thing every day and I go, one day, and then I move it right along. But I got to get to it. You're right, because the shit is getting real. It's no longer it's not a joke anymore, right? This is starting to turn into a bad situation. And it's just such a slow burn to that bad situation. It's insane. Jack Spring. So the solar generators I have will not run the fridge. The fridge pulls too much power. I think the EcoFlow, which is another solar generator I just received, the EcoFlow might run it, but it draws so much it's not even worth it. I'm looking to get their bigger. EcoFlow makes a bigger, what's it called, a Delta Plus or some shit like that. Their version of the, they have a bigger version of their solar generator. If I can get my hands on that, that one, it will run the fridge. So, that's my backup plan should my shit not wash away. It's food shortage, and then worried about my shit washing away. Doesn't stop. The hits just keep coming, guys. Right? So, again, guys, noticing all of that, I just say keep prepping. Now, the UK, they're seeing a possible food shortage as well. They are seeing a food shortage. Not possible. They're seeing food shortage due to a CO2 crisis. Go figure. One of the things I never in my life would have ever thought would have been a problem is a problem in the UK, which is CO2, which helps them, freeze a lot of their food, use CO2 to produce a lot of the food. It also helps them make sodas and things like that, and it keeps their food warm. It also, if I'm not mistaken, they use it on animals before they're slaughtered, right? So the carbon dioxide issue over there is causing a food shortage because an American firm, CO2 firm, and that's how they put it in the paper, it was an American tycoon named Tony Wills. He shut down 2 of his fertilizing plants in Teesside and Shire, England, or UK, sorry, because the gas prices were so high in the UK that he shut down his plants because it was no longer profitable. But now the plants are firing back up again to head off the food shortage. So I'm assuming they're giving this guy a deal on the gas price. They have to be cutting him some slack, because I think the gas prices were soaring so high that it was making his CO2 productions there was no value to it, right? So with that being said, he had to sorry. That's fucking weird. Some guys are putting view the like button, and whatever reason it's getting blocked. Strange. and Oki Rebel is being timed out. Why is he being timed out? We'll talk about it later. So, with that, guys, sorry about that. So with that, the UK is also going to see a lack of production in their poultry and pork because of this CO2 crisis. Dude, the hits keep coming, guys. It's one thing after the other, you know. It's one thing after the other. So the other problem with the CO2, it also helps them, you know, beer and crumpets. Who the fuck eats crumpets? They do. And also doctors use it in operations, and nuclear power plants use it to cool off the nuclear rods. So there's a lot of problems going along with this. Wolf Mule, thank you for the donation. Right? So there's a lot of problems going on with the CO2 thing over there in the UK. We don't have to worry about it much, but they have to worry about it much. And I know that there's some food products that they do send to us, but again, I don't think it's a big to-do for us. We have to worry about our own problems right now, which is a possible shelf the size of Manhattan sliding off into the ocean, and the food shortages that we're seeing, because we're also seeing a lack of workers. There are guys who are not working at a lot of facilities because of the whole mandate. There are guys that are just not working at these facilities because their unemployment, which is going to get cut off very soon, if not already, they're living off of that. So there's a lack of workers to produce food. There's a lack of will to work. So we're going to see a food shortage. And then, not for nothing, supposedly there's a huge truck strike going on or about to happen soon. If somebody could give me the date in the chat, please let me know. I just heard about it today. And they're thinking that if that truck strike is as big as they said it is, and guys actually go through with it, that can also cause delay in food deliveries, which is going to deepen the food shortage, or make it more pronounced, if you will. If anybody has 1,000 cans of Spam, I hope they're building a fort with it. I mean, that's all I can say about it. Chuck Campbell, my thoughts on the Chinese economic problem. I just started reading that. I heard something about they had a real estate company that faulted on hundreds of billions of dollars and can't repay that back. And that's why we had that hiccup or dip in the market yesterday, 800 points, 820 points to be exact, because of that. They found out that these guys couldn't pay it back. And then today it went back up to 300 points, wherever it ended up. So I don't know anything else about the Chinese economy other than that. I think that the Chinese blew their load on building in too many projects too fast. I think that's another reason why they're in the boat they're in. And they're trying to become an empire too fast. And they're doing what Russia did during the Star Wars program that Reagan announced, right? Russia threw all this money into technology that didn't exist yet and bankrupted the entire country, right? Russia. The Chinese could be doing the same thing. And listen, I really, really, really hope they are. I really hope they are. Though people say if China goes down, we go down, because they have a lot invested in the United States. I get it, but fuck them. Let them, let them collapse. They collapse, I know we collapse, but I think we would fare a lot better because they have way more people if they collapse. Bob Man, thank you for the case of Spams. I appreciate it. I'll use it as target practice. So, guys, it's again, this year it's just been like, the year of fuck us. Fuck us all, actually. I can't believe the amount of shit that's going on. And then, we're being distracted left and right about a lot of shit. I mean, for COVID and all the bullshit that's going along with it is like a giant distraction. But it's also affecting us directly in a lot of ways, because people are losing their jobs as we speak because of this shit. And the whole mandates, people are losing their jobs and are quitting because of this, right? And so we have that distraction, and we got the fucking the little white girl that's missing, or not missing, sorry, pronounced dead because they found her body. America is in awe over that, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get anything about that case because if you look at Dateline on NBC, you see the same shit every week, a different variation of it. You know, girl goes camping, goes missing. Husband pushes wife off a cliff. You know, like, oh, fucking wife pulls the plug on husband's kayak, sinks to the bottom of the ocean. We see this shit all the time. So why is this case any different? I don't know. And thank you for that, Deanna Mom. I chalk it up as a distraction. You know, it's all it is. It's all it is, guys. It's. I'm like, why the hell is everybody so invested? We're talking about it at the firehouse. We're like, yo, that girl that's missing up in the Grand Teton National Park. You know, I'm like, why the fuck are we talking about this? We got other shit to worry about. We got fucking other things to be concerned with, like a food shortage. Real shit, right? A shelf sliding off into the ocean causes a tsunami. Real shit. Not some kid that, listen, it sucks that she's dead. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not going to take anything away from it. But it happens all the time. People go missing and or killed in these national parks every day, all day. And yet this got the most attention. Strange. Someone called Vienna such a monkey dick, now I can eat it. So, I mean, you know, guys, I don't know. I'm going to get more into that situation and the Angry Truth next around 10 o'clock or 10:15 or whenever the fuck I scheduled it because I forgot. But I'll talk about it more. I don't get it. I'm a little. It's just weird. Even if it's a distraction, that's one hell of a distraction to distract us, guys. I just don't get it. You know, don't get it at all. All right, guys. So hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever floats your boat. You know how it goes. The same shit, different day. Helps the algorithm. I'm surprised today's dislike button's only 6. I mean, I'm pretty sure I jinxed it now because everybody's like, oh yeah, I'll give you a fucking dislike. Just got another one. But I do find it interesting. Okie Rubber Man, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I know, guys, a lot of your shit is being held in review. I don't know why. You guys are not saying anything fucked up, but for whatever reason, it's being held. I know my mods timed some of you guys out. Obviously, I'll ask about what was that about, because I know some of you guys break my balls, and I don't give a fuck, right? Bob man, yeah, listen, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know a lot of you guys break my balls, and I don't care. I said, so, you know, maybe the mods just don't know, the ball breaking that goes on, or they're just not in the mood. And that's the other thing, guys. If the mods are not in the mood, I can't help you. You are on your own. You know, my mods do what they do because they're looking to protect me. So if they're not up for it, sorry, guys. Online subscriber, yeah. Listen, Facebook. YouTube's been going fucking crazy with the whole mod bullshit, the mod blocking. I'm sorry, the Google mod shit. They've been going at it, man. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? You know, they've been going into overtime, and I don't get it. You know, some of you guys are just saying, hey, hit the thumbs up, and you're still being blocked. Like, what? You know, what the hell is that about? You know, but whatever. Yes, Northern Girl, it is a full moon, so people are acting strange, and but the comments are not strange. This is the Wild West in here, right? I said this before. You guys that hang out here with me, this is like the fucking Wild West. Shit gets crazy in here. It is what it is. High Flyers, yes, 31. We could definitely hang out and make fun of hipsters. We just stop in Brooklyn, and we could have fun all day. Fucking, breaking hipster balls and their tight jeans and their camel toes. Like, how does a guy have a camel toe? I don't fucking know. But hipsters figured out a way how to do that. I don't know. All right, and they're fucking top notch and man bun or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's fucking enough. Truck Campbell. Him being senile is an act, that is the greatest act I've ever seen, and he should get an Academy Award for pulling along the song. But it's not. What they're going to do now is they're going to make him look very incompetent. His own cabinet is going to make him look very incompetent so that they can kick him out. I think that's what's going to happen. That drone strike that they were trying to blame him on. Listen, I don't like Biden. I hope he falls down the stairs and breaks his hip, kind of deal. But nonetheless, you can't blame a drone strike on a guy who's getting intel from his intel community, and then they give him the shit and they go, Biden, here you go. This is what we got. And he reads it and he goes, okay, ET's eating Reese's Pieces in fucking Afghanistan. Let's bomb it. Maybe that's what he saw and that's why he said it. But his advisory panel would have been like, no, we're not doing this shit. We're not entertaining this shit. I don't know. I don't know. But he got intel and he set the attack up. He said go, and then they hit the wrong shit. That wasn't on him. That was on his intel guys who should have been fired immediately. But I hate to stick up for him, but you got to stick up for people when it's unjust, and blaming him for that is fucking stupid. F liberals, libtards. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, guys. So Northern Girl Hobbies has a YouTube channel. I know a lot of you know. Maybe some of you don't. Do me a favor. Head over to her channel. Like and subscribe to that. I know that a couple of guys are doing their live streams right now. Angryprepper's doing a live stream right now. He's actually doing a good one on the whole volcanic situation going on. He's following it very closely, so you should definitely head over to him and watch him. And I think Survival Living is doing a live stream right now. You could dip into his live stream, and see what he's talking about, because I don't know what he's talking about. I just saw him pop up. So you gotta head over to these channel guys, give them some love. It's just a lot of these guys are good, and a lot of these guys are putting in work because they're still hanging in there. If you're still hanging in the YouTube channel and the YouTube world after a year, you're doing good, man. You're doing good, because this shit is hard. It gets hard after a while. Not that it's hard. I'm still having fun with it. I guess when I'm not having fun anymore, then maybe I'll stop. I don't know. We'll see. But we have 13 minutes left. Bing, wrong. 12 minutes left. Let's move on to the next subject. So, I touched on this on my podcast. So, for those of you that don't know, I have a podcast, and I got to find the link. I got to find a link to my podcast. But nonetheless, guys, I have a podcast. I just started firing it up. I started getting a lot more into it because I got a mic again. So this mic I'm using right now that's here, this is the mic I was using for podcasting, but I leave it here in my office. I leave it here, and I didn't have anything to do a podcast on. And what I was doing with the podcast is I was taking the audio from the videos and making that in a podcast, and I absolutely hated that. So I like the freelance podcasting that I do, so I've been doing that again. I'm putting the podcast link in the chat, guys, and you can also see in the description section below the podcast link as well. Oh, Northern Girl already had it. Nice. Thank you. Mike, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Yes, hipsters and their camel toes. Listen, it cracks everybody up. Everybody who looks at that goes, what the fuck is going on, and why is that happening, right? So anytime you see one of that, it confuses the shit out of you. People just get confused when they see a camel toe on a guy, and a hipster like a man too. You're like, well, why is this happening? Is it a dream? Is it a nightmare? I don't know. When you go to Brooklyn and you start seeing that all over the place, you start fucking like, why am I, and you spinning out of control. You're thinking in the Wizard of Oz because you're seeing this fucking rough shit. Hipsters are the worst. They're just the worst. They break dance and they eat fucking dehydrated kale. I mean, the guys they're ridiculous, They're like, I'm so fucking cool. Look at me and my top notch, and and then wearing their fucking top hats and leaning over to the side so they look cool. Fucking assholes. They're assholes. Matthew Johnson, thank you for the donation. Yeah, Halloween. You are. Yes, are you? Yeah, they're the worst, guys. I'm telling you, they're just so asinine to look at, and then they grow beards. They grow beards because it makes them feel manlier, but they're not men. If you fucking put an axe in their hand or a saw or told them to fix a flat tire, they would flip the fuck out. right? They would be crying and shit and be like, but I just appear to be a man. I'm really not a man. I'm a bitch. And, you know, my father never raised me or played ball with me or whatever it is. My mother didn't breastfeed me. My father spanked me too much. And this is how they became a hipster. They got picked on in school. So they moved to New York and they said, you know what? I'm going to be cool, man. I'm going to break dance and eat kale. Who fucking knows? I don't know. I don't know what their thinking is. I just know I remember a hipster once referring to himself as cool. And I remember thinking to myself, you can't call yourself cool. You can't, like, you know, I don't know. You can't be like, yeah, man, I'm cool. I'm a cool dude because I like to get down with it. It's fucking strange. It's fucking strange. They're a strange group of people. And they're hipsters that don't realize they're hipsters, which is even fucking awesome. And you start breaking their balls and they're like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm a hipster? You're a fucking hipster. You're a hipster. You got on fucking shades at night, your hat backwards, you got these tight ass skinny jeans on, you got those Hitler style boots or Nazi boots on, you know, walking around talking about how you don't eat things with soy in it and you love to eat clean and you talk about your fucking vegan diet a million times a day. Ugh, sucks. Those people suck. They're the worst. Hipster denial. It's a disease, man. It's a disease. But anyway, so moving right along, guys. We're going to talk about a problem that happened here in New York City during the storm. I think I addressed it, but I'm going to address it a little more. I addressed it before. I'm going to address it a little more. But during the flooding, almost a month ago now, right? During the flooding here in New York City, the 9/11 system was overwhelmed. There were so many calls that the system shut down and had an automated calling response telling people to keep calling until they got through. The 911 system's overwhelmed, keep calling until you get through. Now, we didn't know this, not riding on the rigs, we didn't know this at all. A woman flags us down telling us she has water in her apartment. The lady had the Hudson River in her apartment, not the point. So we go there, we look around, we go, well, is everybody safe? Is it coming to the electric? No. Okay, everybody safe? Yeah, all right. So we leave. She's crying and the 911 didn't pick up, and you know we called a couple times and it kept telling us the same thing. And another lady chimes in from the top of the stairs and goes, yeah, I couldn't get through either. So they were flagging cops and fire trucks down for help. Cars that were stranded were flagging people down for help. This was a problem because, guys, these are one of those times as a prepper where we've always talked about help is not coming. If a flood, or rain rather, that flooded the city, disabled the 911 system, and left you completely on your own for a couple of hours, a lot of shit can happen in a couple of hours. You have to have a plan on how to defend yourself and how to take care of yourself should you get hurt. You cannot completely rely on the 911 system. I don't ever rely on it. I will take myself to the hospital. I will patch myself up. I will patch my family up and take them to the hospital myself. I would never call 911 unless I absolutely had to. And that's just now. Now, forget about then where there's nothing going on. Now, during a flood, guys, if this happened during a flood, imagine an apocalyptic event. Hell, forget about an apocalyptic event. Just imagine the Canary Islands snaps off and washes the city away. You are on your own. You are on your own in every aspect. So you have to come up with a way on how to protect yourself. Firearms. Now, the firearms thing, I'm going to say this. If you live in New York City, you can get a firearm. You can only get it for sporting or target practice. That's it. But if 911 system is not working and you still have your firearm that's for sporting and target practice, you can absolutely use it to defend yourself and use the people who are entering your home as target practice. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So, you have a bow and arrow in your home. You can use that as well. Knives. Knives is a touchy subject for me. Because people are like, well, you can get yourself a knife and then... Nah. Stay away from the knives if you don't know how to use a knife. If you have no clue, guys, on how to use a knife, stay the fuck away from it. You are better off going to firearm training and learning how to use a gun than you are learning how to use a knife. Now, you can learn how to use a knife but you got it takes a while. There's a lot of things that can happen, and a knife can end up out of your hand and in the hands of somebody else. Again, Saving Private Ryan. I used that reference before. The Jewish guy. What the hell was his name? Mellish, I think his name was. Right, where the German soldier took the knife out of his hand and slowly sunk the knife into his chest. You don't want that to be you. So I tell people to stay away from the knife if you don't know how to use it. If you know how to use a knife, you can get down. Frazio, yes, a baseball bat will work. A crowbar will work. Learn how to swing the bat and the crowbar, though, right? Don't lean it. It's like swinging it at a ball. It doesn't lean on your shoulder. You keep it above your shoulders as if you're about to hit a baseball, but you're going to hit a person with it. You follow through on certain swings, and you don't follow through on other swings. If you want to break something, you're following through. If you want to just injure them, you smack them with it, but you don't follow through with it. Though if somebody's in your home, I'm going to guarantee you want to follow through with it. Mace, pepper spray. Guys, using mace and pepper spray is great, but keep in mind, if you have, for example, mace, if you're spraying him and it's a stream, and that stream bounces off his face and lands back onto you, you and him are going to be rolling around on the ground crying. So pepper spray is a little better. Make sure you are downwind, so the wind is on your back going down, and you're spraying it. Don't have the wind against you. Don't have the wind on his back. You spray him in the face. Now both of you, again, are rolling around on the ground crying. Insect spray or animal spray. Thank you for bringing that up, American Freedom 911. Wasp spray or bear spray, right? Hornet spray or even roach spray, guys. All of that works. It stings the eyes and the nostrils. So there will be shit out of luck. Now, these are for your home defense. A wasp spray and hornet spray, guys, those are big-ass cans. You're not walking around with that. So this is for home defense. If you are going to defend yourself in your home, this is where those kind of sprays work. Bear spray is more portable for the obvious reasons. But wasp spray, hornet spray, roach spray, you're not walking around with that big-ass can on it. You're not. Brass knuckles are good if you know how to use brass knuckles, if you know how to fight. If you know how to fight, brass knuckles are great. If you don't know how to fight, brass knuckles are not great, right? Again, everything you put in your hand, you got to learn how to use. You can't just put a knife in your hand and think you're going to be John Wick. You can't pick up a gun and think you're going to be, John Wick. It don't work that way. You got to go out for this training. You got to get this training ahead of time. Firearms training is the most important training I think everybody and anybody should get. With that being said, guys, a firearm for target practice is something that you can absolutely use and make other people your target practice. Brian, I heard about the gel spray thing. I heard about that's pretty cool because it sort of sticks to the body. It doesn't bounce back. It's a little safer. But I know that if you don't use it for a while, it gunks up pretty good. And then when you want to use it, it's fucking bad. Guys, so now a lot of people like, well, this is illegal, that's illegal. If you get your hands on it, get your hands on it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else other than that. Because fuck that shit. If you're going to protect yourself, protect yourself. Enough with the laws and all this other crazy shit. Use what needs to be used to protect yourself and your family. That's it. All right, guys. So we are at the 59-minute mark. We hit all the subjects we needed to hit. Now, again, guys, with no one coming to save you, again, it happened during a flood. It happened during 9/11, actually, too. 9/11, during that event, the 911 system was overwhelmed. It was overwhelmed. All the people in the building calling on how to get out, right? So I remember that happened. I remember the 9/11 system was overwhelmed. And even after it was overwhelmed, they had something called ghost calls, right? And ghost calls came through, and those are eerie. I think it's on Amazon. On Amazon, there's a video called 911 recordings, and those were people who were making phone calls in the towers when they were trapped after the first and second plane hit. Now, the 911 operators were getting these ghost calls months later. So picture in December, you're minding your business, you see a 911 call, you go, 911 operator, how can I help you? And then you get this call that's stuck in the system of someone on the other end crying, telling about how they're trapped or they feel the heat, they might have to jump out of the window, and all these other crazy things, right? So the 911 system was overwhelmed so much, calls are still going through, and they're probably going to get a lot of ghost calls from this event too in the next couple of weeks. Right, guys, so we hit the 1 hour mark. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you don't mind, for those of you that are interested, head over to the Angry Truth channel. That'll be starting in about 15 minutes or earlier. I'm probably going to start it earlier. Other than that, guys, man, thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate the donations. I appreciate the mods. Guys, thank you for what you do. And we will, I'll see you in the Angry Truth. And yes, Matthews, I do like 90s movies, by the way. All right, guys, catch you in the next live stream.